Hey everybody, Alex here, Out of the Park 23, episode 23, and we are back here in the middle of July, just after the All-Star break in 2029. I apologize for the delay in this video. Was wrapped up in NFL draft and Steelers coverage, but I promise the series has not ended. I've still been playing this game actually a bit more often over the last couple of days, although as you guys can see, it's been a painful experience. The Pirates 35-58 as we start the second half of the season. Let's talk about what's gone so wrong. And frankly, it feels like a little bit of everything has gone wrong. Just a lot of slumps. You see the offense here, bad as usual. The pitching staff not nearly as strong as usual. 8th in ERA, 11th in starters ERA, 9th in bullpen ERA. Defense has been good, but certainly not strong enough. And I think really the offense though has been the biggest issue, even more than usual. Look at the lineup here. We'll pull up the stats. In terms of guys with a good WRC plus, it's Hayes who's been hurt a bit, and Delphin Ramirez, and that's basically been it. Tabor Fast is in a terrible slump right now. We look at his splits. Got off to a decent start April, May, and then June was miserable, and July just a little bit better. And so that's been a key bat that has not done that well. RJ Shrek has fallen off as well. I've kind of been switching out names and adding different people. Manuel Margot just got called up, so he'll kick off the second half of the season for the team. Rowan Kelly, a prospect, was up early in the year, started to slump. I sent him back down, and now he's back up, just trying to find somebody who can show some sort of consistency. Do have David Fletcher, a new Pirate, former LA Dodger, and so he came over in a trade after some injuries to Edwin Arroyo Jr., and so we sent over a starting pitcher in Willie Gonzalez, a prospect there, finesse pitcher, did not really fit our style of things. He's been, okay. He's not really been okay. I mean, it's been pretty meager with David Fletcher, but he's back at second. He was playing more short because Arroyo was hurt, and Arroyo has not been very good this year when he has been healthy. McDial in center, 73 WRC plus. Nobody's hitting well. Nobody's really hitting for average, and catcher certainly not any better. They brought back Carter Binns, who was a former Pirate, because he gets on base, and he still is basically in Pittsburgh, but everybody seems a bit worse when they come over to the Pirates, and so we gave up a former high draft pick in, a supplemental pick, 36 overall back in 2022. Our first draft class, Nicholas Perez, goes to the Rangers for Carter Binns. Rene Lasters, who I had a lot of hope in. I know catchers in this game are typically not that great, but, he has not had the home run power that I thought and hoped that he would. I think being the ground ball a hitter profile has not done him a lot of favors. Pitching staff, Christopher Cruz has been, I think, solid. Not quite as good as years past, but I'm still happy with him. Of course, the ace of the staff, a trade acquisition, and Adam Aller, when we were a little more competitive and trying to find somebody to replace some of the youngsters who have struggled. And so Rodoldo Rum went over to Texas. Another issue with this game, and I mentioned this before, is no team has any money. And so trying to offload some of the contracts I want to offload has been an issue. Dylan Lesko, trying to find that third pitch. He's been just about league average. Luis Savito has been below average this year, unfortunately, after a couple of solid seasons. We'll see where things go. The BABIP seems okay. The peripherals seem to be about the norm. So what is his FIP? I hadn't checked what his FIP was. They have it at 3.85, so I think he's kind of getting a bit of bad luck here, and hopefully he'll bring that ERA down. Dylan Questad was a guy that looks good. I know that third pitch we're a little shaky on. He had come up, got shelled, sent down, 7 amazing starts in AAA, brought back up, and it's been better as of late. His last 3 starts have been good. The one before, he had a quick exit and a terrible 9-0 loss to Boston. And so looking at the bullpen, it's been fine. Nothing all that incredible or notable. Taylor Lehman was claimed on waivers from Texas, so a lot of Rangers apparently coming over to Pittsburgh. I'm realizing that now with Binns and Lehman and Oler, but he was claimed. He was not a trade. One name you do not see in the bullpen right now, and that's not because he's injured, is Nick Mears, who was just dealt to Colorado and as a Rocky, made an all-star appearance, technically as a Rocky, but mostly for what he did in Pittsburgh. And coming back over in that deal was Kamani Morris, a really interesting third baseman who I just realized is injured. I did not know that until I just checked it. So that happened yesterday in the game, and that is disappointing and kind of sums up where the season's gone. But hopefully that's not a long-term injury, and if not, then that bat I think will play well, and he's got the arm to play third, as you kind of wonder really more so about Ke'Bryan Hayes' future. But yeah, the prospects have not really developed all that great. We tried Sal Ramos, who I thought was ready. 7.3 ERA in 6 starts, so he's back down. And from there, it's just not been all that strong. But yeah, one note on the Mears contract, if we pull up the standings, and again, the issue that I'm having, and I'm trying to mess with the financials on the back end to change this, but I traded with the Rockies, but they had no available money, so I ate the entire salary of Nick Mears. I'm retaining 100% because that was the only way I could do the deal, otherwise they would be over budget and the deal could not go through. And so I was trying to clear salary space this year for draft picks and other type moves. I wanted to sign an international free agent, but because I'm retaining all this salary, that's not clearing up any space. I'm getting somebody for him at least, so I'm not going to just lose Mears to free agency, and I'm not going to put a qualifying offer on him because I cannot literally afford it. But that's been an issue in the game. I'm not entirely sure what's happening. I don't have inflation on. It's at 0%, so that shouldn't be increasing salaries, but I tried to mess with some things to help that for the future in terms of increasing TV deals that hopefully will put more money in everybody's pocket, but I still can't figure out what I'm doing wrong because I know that people have not had this problem the way that I've had this problem. So that's kind of a sidebar, but I do want to talk about that there for a moment. Just had the MLB draft, and so look at our class here. First round pick, Woquan Bell. Working the pronunciation. Jokin, I think it's Woquan Bell. Anyway, Gasoline, they call him. Gasoline Bell. He's 22 years old from Vanderbilt. Basically, we're doing Kumar Rocker times 2. We're going to try it with him, although the control looks better with him, and so he wants a bit more money than what I can really afford, and so I'm going to have to figure all that stuff out. Again, that's kind of the issue I'm having right now. Alex Amaya, who is actually, this name sounded familiar to me, and so I checked his history. He was a 6th-round pick of the Royals back in 2026. I think he was on my radar at a time, and defensively, the range, can play short with good gap power contact. I think that's going to look really nice, and a lot of these guys after Bell were severely under slot types. I can show you that here in a moment. Jaden Murdoch, our 3rd-round pick, high school outfielder with a good potential in that bat. Jaden Smith, a reliever. Again, trying to find some cheaper options here. The knuckle curve, ground ball pitcher with good movement, attractive profile overall. And Maximo Nardello, a starting pitcher. And hopefully these things can develop. But if we look at the slots and demands, you see Bell. My budget I had for the draft was $5 million, and you can see Bell is already blown past that at 5.6. I thought he was going to be below that, and I just couldn't find anybody available that I really wanted, and so I'm going to try to make it work. But the guys below that are all very much what we call under slot candidates, besides, I suppose, a couple of these here a bit later. But I'm going to try to trade somebody. There are a couple of teams that have money available that are in contention, so it's realistic. The Yankees have money. I'm going to make a trade before they go acquire somebody and eat that money up. But yeah, I mean, other than like the Yankees, even the Dodgers, for example, have no money, and I just don't understand how I can't make a trade with anybody. I don't know how they're going to make. They always make trades. I don't know how they're actually doing that, though, just based on the financial picture that I'm seeing right now. I think one other note for this team of why we're struggling so much, had some injuries as well. Trey Duffield, one of the guys I was really encouraged by, had like consecutive setbacks. So he had a setback, and then he was good for a day, and then had another setback, and now he's at 14 months, and his career may be over. Luis Ortiz has been hurt. He had a setback as well. One of our key prospects. I'm worried about this guy. Luis Morales has been hurt quite a bit this year with a strained oblique and then sprained his ankle, and just has not gotten to play that much, and I really want him to be a guy for next year, so he needs to play and develop as much as possible. The team trainer that I have, if I can find the list here, in terms of personnel. I couldn't get a team trainer that was very good in terms of like an overall skill set, so I took this guy, Bill Avaro, because he had the legendary prevent arm and leg injuries and a good rehab, but his fatigue recovery was poor. Now, the last guy I had was like just average. It wasn't like his fatigue recovery was anything special, but I think that's been an issue where guys get really tired and worn down, and that's probably contributing to why they're struggling. I've tried to have a bit more bench depth for these guys, but it really hasn't worked. So I think after this year, our trainer, and we have some money tied up in him, he's going to go because I just don't think he's going to be the answer. And hopefully there'll be somebody out there next year that can have really good prevention on the arm injuries, but a much, much better fatigue recovery, which I think will just help the entire organization. But yeah, it's been bad. I'm going to try to power through this year. The next video I do will probably just be the end of the season, because I'm going to guess we're not going to make the playoffs, being 20 games out behind the first place Cardinals. We are better than the Marlins. Are we the second worst record in baseball? I had not checked that. Oakland's sitting there at 35-58 like us, so we are tied for the second worst record. Again, only the Marlins are worse, so we'll hang our hat on that, I suppose. Do they have money? No, they have money for next year, and everyone eats up all this money. I don't understand the financial system. Bright spots. What bright spots do the Pirates have? Delfin Ramirez has bounced back. 24 home runs, already matching his 2027 total, where he won Rookie of the Year. So he's been excellent, and we're happy about that. And that's about it when it comes to the positives of this team right now. Top prospects we can look at briefly. It's been some changes there. There's always the young guys that probably get ranked too early and too highly, but Victor Dimas, how about, Jose Pena, who's hurt as well, because of course he is, 2 days ago. Great. Strained oblique. Really, I think this trainer with the bad fatigue recovery is also increasing probably injuries because they're tired. I think that's a mechanic in this game. So the trainer, I think, was a really bad mistake on my part, but the home run power with Jose Pena looks awesome. And so, yeah, the trainer, I think also, let me check him again, just had bad stats elsewhere. Like, he was either really good or really bad in he's good in preventing leg injuries there. He was bad he was like fair and back, decent in other. That's frustrating. I guess maybe because his rehab on some of this stuff isn't as strong. Yeah, I think I really made a terrible mistake there. I don't think it would have saved our season, but it's not helping. Some prospects that are kind of struggling here, and Tony Luces, who I've really looked at for quite some time. He is having a slump in AA right now after being awesome prior to this point, so a little bit of concern there. I've got to mess with his position as well. Julian Williams looks good, former first-round pick last year. Gil Quintos is going to be a DH and DH only, but I think could be a really good one for us. Jason Mouton could be, I think, a really prolific catcher, both behind the plate and at the dish. So that's encouraging. This guy's popped up here in Ryan Kennedy, a former draft pick. And so he's kind of started to come on strong for us, and so I'm excited about that. 25 years old and having a nice start after getting promoted from AA to AAA Indianapolis. But that's going to be, I think, our video overall. Again, I'll come back. There's going to be some trades. I'll show you guys probably names that are going to go. Probably going to be a Vito. He wants way too much money, and I can't afford if he wanted $1. I really can't afford anything. He's not even interested in discussions because he's mad. So all the more reason to deal him. Denny Bentley was terrible. He's back down in AAA. He had an ERA of over 9, so just a very hit-and-miss kind of guy. And some of these other deals may get moved. We could even look at Key Brian Hayes, to be honest with you, as he's getting near the end of that team option in 2031. So we'll gut out the rest of the year. This has been a very disappointing season, that is for sure. But we'll come back and recap and put some analysis to the 2029 season once it's finished. So thank you guys for being patient. I hopefully will not delay the next video nearly as long as I have this one, but appreciate you guys watching. If you guys could like this video and subscribe, I'd appreciate that. Thank you again for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.